Hey, how's it going? This is the Sports Counterpoints podcast. I'm GB. I got Brian and Coop with me as always. What's going on, guys?
Oh,
Hey, all right.
What's up? We're back at it. It is May the 22nd, 2024. Today we're talking NBA playoffs, WNBA in its current state, as well as the NFL schedule as it's released, and NFL fans rejoice, or as Brian was joking, some are remorse and upset. So let's see what it is, man. Starting with the playoffs. Actually been some pretty damn good games these last few in the NBA, man. And Edwards going crazy. Last night, Celtics Pacers was good, but let's take it back to the conference semis. Start with the West Coast, Thunder Mavericks. Any thoughts y'all have on that?
I forgot who we had winning, to be perfectly honest with you. I think maybe I had the Thunder. Because I said I had the Thunder. So I said I don't know how that Luka Kyrie Irving thing would play out. But I mean, they were balling. Thunder, young team. They just couldn't I guess get stops when they needed it and get baskets when they needed it. But I guess you could say that about any team that loses in the playoffs. But the Mavericks won the series. We'll get to the next series against the Timberwolves. But I mean, they won. Good series win for them. Doesn't diminish what Oklahoma City did this year by getting the number one seed. But I mean, veterans usually win the playoffs, and Mavericks had the two veterans, and they end up getting it done. What you think, B?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had the Thunder, and I really thought that they could overcome. That's mainly because I don't believe in the chemistry of the Dallas Mavericks. Although, since the first round, when Luka said it's my fault that I'm letting down Kyrie, whatever it needed to get in place has started to work itself out, and their chemistry has actually been quite good.
Yeah.
Still not a fan of the team or the players, but if all things considered, I still thought that SGA and that very, very talented OKC team could overcome. They couldn't, but they got close, right? I mean, they lost 116, 117 in the closeout game. They were competitive pretty much throughout. There weren't any real huge blowouts in this game. It was a hard-fought series. And as we've said before, and I think you were just saying, every team kind of needs that kick in the teeth the first time they come through the playoffs, and they get it at some point. This is kind of the OKC version of that. I think that we're going to see a lot of them for the next few years when they have rookie contracts and SGA locked up and a lot going on in their favor. And I'm looking forward to it. I think SGA might be one of the more exciting and under-heralded superstars in the league right now. There's a lot of talk about Jalen Brunson, and SGA is every bit as good, but probably not as much recognized, and that comes with being in OKC.
Yeah.
Fair. Other side, Timberwolves, or it's not other side, side of the bracket, but Timberwolves and Nuggets, man. That was a good series.
Yeah, B, start with that one.
Sure. So I thought.
Who'd you have on that one? Who'd you have?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. All right.
Yeah.
All
right. So even before that matchup was happening, was a thing. Like even in the first round, I said that Minnesota will be the team to knock out the Nuggets. I thought it would happen sooner. Jokic did what Jokic can do, and took it down the stretch. But the Minnesota Timberwolves were built in a way, similarly, by the way, to what the Lakers were built when they used to beat the Nuggets, and no longer do because they're not built that way. But they're built in a way to compete perfectly with the Denver Nuggets. And the reason for that is, you have somebody who can play, wasn't always playing, but can play great defense and doesn't need the ball on offense, in Gobert, who was able to I would not say shut down, but slow down Jokic and at least make him have to work for it in the games that they won. In the games that they lost, it was usually because Gobert got cooked. And Cat and Ant, proved that they have a great thing on the offensive side. Both play great defense. Both are committed to trying to win. This is, in my opinion, another one of those OKC-like great young teams that I would have to imagine we have at least 2 more years left before money problems kind of blow it up. But I think they're going to make some nice deep runs. And while I don't get the MJ comparisons, Ant is the guy that I think has superstardom written on his future card the most. And that is not just because he's an outstanding basketball player, can drive, can shoot, can play defense, has the energy, but he has the self-awareness, and he has the media skills to play that out. And the reason why I think that, Jason, is because he was doing an interview and they asked him when he realized he needed to get better. And he said, he used the example of his tryout, or whatever you want to call it, pro day before the draft with the Warriors. Mm-hmm. He said that he was going and doing a drill. He run back and forth and shoot that. And Kerr was like, great, but can you do it faster? And so he's doing it a little bit fast. He's like, great, but can you do it faster? And then he's sprinting and missing shots all over the place. And Kerr pulled him aside and basically said, you know, if we're going to draft you at 2, I think was their pick, you're going to have to be a hell of a lot, better than this, and you're going to have to work a hell of a lot harder. And he said that gave him that wake up moment. But to be self-aware enough to be able to hear that as a superstar coming into the league and then make a change tells me he has what it takes, like some of the other superstars we've seen before.
Yeah, you got to be able to work on your game and have that, man. Kobe had that, took criticism, so did Michael Jordan. So, yeah, I'm with you. I don't get the Michael Jordan comparisons, but I do like watching them play. This series, I'm going to be honest with y'all. The way I felt about this series, because I had money on it, was the way I felt about when Cleveland played the Warriors, when the Warriors were 73-9 and they were up 3-1. I thought Cleveland was dead in the water. They ended up coming back winning, and the reason why I remember every game or most of the games and most of what happened in that series so vividly, because I had money on the series. I was really invested. I was really invested in Minnesota. I thought they were going to blow it. I thought Denver had a really, really good chance to win Game 7. And props to Minnesota, man. That was a huge Game 7 road victory. You usually don't see that. I think the last one I remember, was the Lakers when they played in Sacramento. Maybe there have been others since then, but I do remember that one. Winning Game 7 on the road is hard. Minnesota did it. Props to them. We'll get into the next series in a little bit, but Minnesota franchise, I think this team is actually better than the one that Sam Cassell and Kevin Garnett was on when they went to the
Western Conference Finals.
Western Finals, against the Lakers that year. I think this team is better, and Anthony Edwards is somebody who I definitely like watching. So
yeah, true that, man. That was a fun series to watch.
Yeah.
Then you mentioned Jalen Brunson a second ago, so let's go to Pacers and Knicks.
Okay.
Go ahead, B. You go ahead. No, you go ahead. You good.
Look, the minute Jalen couldn't play in the second quarter of a Game 7. In the epitaph was written, the tombstone was created, and it's unfortunate that a series that's been really entertaining had some kind of big back and forth. I mean, there's been a blowout here, blowout there, but it's gone back and forth. Had to end with players getting injured, and that's the way sports work sometimes. But I like what the Knicks tried to do. I also like what the Pacers were able to try and counter with. If I asked most people, casual fans, not people who watch all the games and all that kind of stuff, but casual fans, who they knew from the Pacers, if they knew 2/5 of the starting lineup, I would be shocked. Mm-hmm. It's not a high bar, right? That's if you get to 2, that means more than 1. I would be surprised, but the Indiana Pacers.
I watched the games and I only know Halliburton. Go ahead.
Right. No, me too.
Siakam.
Yeah. But Siakam, and that's and I was going to say Siakam is the one that other people may know got traded there mid-year and has made an impact. But it's impressive when a team that's kind of put together mid-season like this one was, in a market like Indiana is able to kind of keep pressing on. Everyone wants. I'm even at the point where I want to see the Knicks get beyond just making the playoffs, because I think that they have some interesting talent on the team. But I think the better organization won. I think the more talented players are on the Knicks, but that organization kind of thwarts progress sometimes. Jason, what about you?
Yeah, I had this series going 7 because I strictly thought it would go 7 because of Jalen Brunson shooting. He's not really, he shoots like 8 for 24 and 9 for 26. He gets buckets, but he doesn't shoot very well. So I thought the Pacers would be able to capitalize on some of the misses and extend it to 7, but I did think they would lose. Like you, when Brunson, got hurt, I'm sorry, I bet the Pacers +3. I know I took the Knicks +7, but I got to take that +3. I thought it was going to be a close game, and then they said going into the game that Brunson or a couple other players weren't 100% anyway. No injury report for the Pacers, so I took them. But good win for the Pacers. I think they definitely overachieved. We'll get into their next matchup against the Celtics in a minute. But the Knicks had a very good season. I don't know if they'll repeat the success next year because Julius Randle will be back and he'll be playing.
I don't think he'll be back.
You don't think so? Why?
First of all, I love Julius. And
I know.
We go disagree. But no, I actually think that this Knicks team gets partially blown up. And that's why I say this organization thwarts its own progress. But I don't know if it comes back the same.
Okay. Yeah, I don't. It'll be hard for the Knicks, in my opinion, to replicate the success they had this year. I mean, good for New York, good for the NBA, but I'm not sure if this is going to be like a 4, 5, 6 year run of the Knicks being really good. But it was good to watch these games. They were really good games against the Pacers. But props to the Pacers.
Anything over 2 or 3 years in a salary cap era where you pay your rookies $40 million a year in 28 or 30 or $40 million a year in year 4, it makes it really, really hard, right? To do that. It's the same problem that I think Minnesota's going to have.
Minnesota.
Okay,
oh yeah.
That's why I said 2-3 years. Dynasties now, they're starting to get real short because it's hard to find what the Warriors have. If that's the standard,
the bar,
we're not going to see much of that going forward.
I think to your point, it has to be, right? Because you can't pay him. If you can draft him, you have a chance of keeping them together for at least a few years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Last series was the Celtics Cavaliers, and it was the Eastern Conference semis.
No, Celtics and Cavaliers. Yeah, Cavs, they're offensively challenged. I mean, they tried to make it a series, good for them. But the reason why every game was a 10-point spread or more is because Boston has offense and Cleveland doesn't. I don't think anybody was shocked about the outcome of this series. They lost one game. Celtics, they do that. They take a game off, but they handle business and won. This series was of really no interest to me. But the next one, I guess, with the Pacers could be a little bit. But I didn't watch any game in this series. I just thought the Celtics take care of business, and they did.
I watched the second game, which the Cavs won, but look, I don't think anyone was surprised by the result. It's the NBA. You expect professionals to find a way to win one game in a series like this. They did, and that was kind of on the back of a pretty outstanding night by Cleveland. Other than that, the Boston Celtics are arguably the best team in the East by a very large margin. So there isn't going to be much surprise as they kind of, I wouldn't say run through, but, slowly jog through the East to get to the finals. That may be foreshadowing what I think is going to happen next, but I think it's pretty obvious. Cleveland, congratulations to them.
Yeah.
Like, they have some young players on there. No one expect that there's a whole lot of teams that are people that are expecting to do anything more next year.
Yep. Well, I lost you. I'm sorry. It says my internet connection is weird. So I lost you at the end. It kind of froze up, but we'll keep rolling. So sorry to whoever's he was making good points and we lost it for the end. So sliding in the East Coast to the finals, Pacers beat Knicks, Celtics beat Cavs. So now we just had game 1 yesterday. A very close one. Did you guys watch the game?
How about you go ahead and start, B?
Which one are we talking about now?
Celtics and Pacers.
Got it. So I did not get to watch the first game.
That's good.
I was son's birthday party type stuff. Look, I'm glad that it was a good game. The Pacers do not have enough weight in the backside to bump uglies with Boston, and the Pacers have shown that they have a lot of fight. They have a lot of moxie. I will do the same thing that I will do with just about any series that I think is an outmatch. I'll say it's going to be 5 games. and give me the Celtics. And the Celtics are already in as an 8.5-point favorite in game 2. In a Eastern Conference Finals spread that large, it seems like there's a different level of team being played with two teams being played there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I have the Celtics in 5 as well. When you see, like I said, you see large point spreads like that, one team is clearly better than the other. I'm with you, saying you said everything. I don't think the Pacers have enough to deal with Boston inside, maybe on the perimeter a little bit. They get hot on the perimeter, they might be able to steal a game or two, but I think they had a really good shot to win game 1. I didn't watch it, but I saw bits and pieces here and there. They had a really good shot. I saw some bad plays by Halliburton at the end of game 1 or whatever, or regulation. But if you're a team like that, a young team like that, you have to take that game. I think that was pretty much the nail in the coffin for them in the series. I know it's just game 1, but you got to take that game. And they're a young team, haven't been in the situation before, so I just don't think they just automatically just bounce back and win this in 6 or something. I don't see it.
Bro, they had that game 1. That was they were up. They were up 3. I mean, they were scoring, they were hitting big shots all the way down the stretch, and they just crumbled. They gave it away. And coach stepped out. Carlisle, I think, is the coach there, stepped out and was like, "That's my fault. I should have, called a timeout." 100%, because they had the game 1. That was crazy.
I got so many text messages, and all the text messages and all the various groups were all the same theme. What the heck are the Pacers doing right now? They are giving this game away.
Yeah, they had the game in hand. I was like, okay, nice. Come out, get game 1. Now, I will say in this, it does appear that the home court advantage that we knew from basketball when 90s, early 2000s, when you try to steal one game on the road because then you can win your home games, doesn't appear to be as much of an advantage as it once was, because players will lose at home just like they'll lose on the road. So we'll see what happens. But that was a tragedy watching them give it away like they had it. So sliding to the West Coast, the Western Conference, Mavericks and the Mavericks and the Timberwolves. Game 1 was today.
We
were watching the end of that just a little bit earlier. Minnesota was close but couldn't pull it out. But I mean, still, you're probably happy that you're right there. It's not like you're getting blown out. What are you guys thinking about this game and how the series looks?
Minnesota should have won. They should have won this game. They had a couple 10-point leads during this game. Dallas didn't. Minnesota kept blowing, and Dallas kept coming back. It seemed like Minnesota just, whenever they got a lead of a decent margin, they kind of like, I don't know, they stopped doing what they were doing to actually get the lead. Can't do that against a team like Dallas because they do got ballers over there, a couple ballers over there, and end up biting them in the ass. And Dallas ended up winning. Good win for Dallas. I still don't think Dallas has the supreme advantage over Minnesota, but I do think now, instead of going 6, I would take Minnesota in 7. I did still predict Minnesota in 6, but I still feel good about Minnesota winning this series. I do. I think there's the way they're playing, the way they played against Phoenix, the way they played against last series against Denver. They can come back and they can win. They can win games, and they proved it against Denver. So I'm not out on Minnesota at all. What about you, Brian?
Yeah, the Timberwolves are the better team. And so the Mavericks will always have a puncher's chance because they have 2 supremely talented players, Luka and Kyrie, who on any given night can take a game under their wing, which Luka did tonight, and deliver a victory. But the way I pick, series are based off of which is the better team and how they play together, because that's more predictable, it's more consistent, and the Timberwolves have a very good team. I would say that I still think that this is the Timberwolves in 6. So there's another game in Mavericks future, at some point in time, because of the same reasons we just talked about. But, it's not to say that it's inconceivable that the Dallas Mavericks could find a way to win this, big games at any nights. But the Timberwolves were designed to beat the Nuggets. They were not designed to beat the Mavericks. The Mavericks are a team that people don't plan for because, 1, they probably weren't expected to be here. 2, they don't really have an offense. They don't really have a style. They just have 2 great players that they roll the ball out in the court and see what happens next. And so when people are building rosters and building game plans and building strategies, with the Mavericks, they're like, we're going to go run our base defense, we're going to run our stock offense, and we're going to try and outperform them and make sure that Luka and Kyrie don't go nuts. as I understand it, tonight was one of those nights where Luka did his thing. Congratulations to him.
Definitely. Yeah, it was a good game. I can't even lie. Definitely both finals games have been good. Timberwolves Nuggets was good. I didn't really see too much of the other ones. I did watch Pacers Knicks because of that, but it's actually been a pretty good little playoff run. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens as we go forward. Any last thoughts?
No, I'm good.
Cool.
Yeah,
All right.
no, our next one is right before the finals start. So that'll be great. We can see how we did and take a look at what's going to happen next in the finals.
Definitely. Sounds good. Cool. So sliding by, man, I wanted to get y'all's take on with the WNBA. Just kind of, general thoughts. I mean, I don't need predictions for the finals or anything, but just have you been watching any games? Have you, had any intrigue, interest? What are you noticing of the coverage, right? With all the new rookies that are in there. Just kind of what are your thoughts on where the league's at right now?
Go ahead, B.
So I am intrigued enough to look at the scores on a nightly or daily basis. I haven't been intrigued enough to watch the games live. Part of that is that the WNBA starts their stuff right at the end of in the playoffs or the NBA, which before has not been a problem, and sometimes it's actually been a benefit because people are going to watch basketball games. If you're at a bar, they'll have a WNBA game possibly next to the NBA playoffs. But it has made it so that I haven't gotten super deep into it yet. I'll probably go to a game or two this year. But the catch here is that it's sort of been like the what's going on with Caitlin show every single time she plays. And while I think that's awesome, I think the part that is unfair, and she deserves all the pressure she gets because she's we're hyped. But
Yeah, she's
what I think is unfair is that people expect her to not be a rookie. She is still a rookie player playing in a professional league. And we saw Candace, for those of us who actually have kept up with the WNBA, we saw Candace Parker, who came in with the same kind of hype, and she had a normal start to her first season, and she was going to a great Sparks team when she started over there, whereas the Indiana Fever earned the first pick of that draft. They were horrible last year. They've added Caitlin Clark. They are still really bad. And maybe a little bit more competitive. Congratulations to them, to the WNBA, for being able to use their talent to market their league. This is exactly what the NBA used to have to do before Magic and Bird started making a thing. Like the NBA was void of superstar stardom like this until Magic and Bird did what they did, right? So you got to start somewhere. And if Caitlin's going to be on one side of it and some of the other talented folks are going to be on the other, then so be it. If that works, that works. Now it only works if Caitlin gets to a point in year 2 and year 3 of being as good as some expect her to be. She meets those expectations.
Well said. And I mean, to that point, she's still top 15 in scoring. So it's not like she's averaging like, what is she averaging? 17. So I mean, I can't coming out into a pro league with players like Taurasi's been in the league 20 years now, and all these other great players that are in front of her. I mean, she's doing what she can do. But you're right, B. The coverage is all Caitlin all the time.
Yeah,
all the time. It's been cool to see the increase because I see way more WNBA. I follow a few women's sports pages on Instagram, but definitely seeing way more WNBA coverage when stuff's happening. So that's been cool too.
She's got to learn to pick her shot. So she's only making 3 3-pointers. That's what we all know her for, pulling up from midcourt, blah blah blah, and she's taking 8. She's got to learn that everything is just a little bit more complicated, and people guard you full court in the WNBA. Sorry, Jason, go ahead.
No, you're good. I haven't watched any games, but I haven't watched any highlights either. But if I read something on social media, maybe Bleacher Report, Athletic, Twitter, whatever, or just glancing on some MSN, something like that. It's all about Caitlin Clark, and I know there are other ballers in the NBA, WNBA besides Caitlin Clark. Now it's good. I know she's probably trying to be the face of the league. She came in with a lot of hype, but it kind of turned me off about that because it's just about her. And even though she's a very good player, there are other. I think this is the time where the WNBA can probably shine some light on maybe another one or two other players, like similar to what you said in the NBA. Brian, when it was Magic and Bird, they had two guys instead of just one. Probably a little easier. I think that actually helped because one was black, one was white, whatever. But still, you had two guys. I think there should be somebody else that could be marketed besides Caitlin Clark, and that's one thing I don't like. Number two, I haven't watched
Problem they
anything.
have though is that there are not personalities who market themselves like Caitlin has been able to do. She's boisterous, talks a little bit of trash. She's white. You mentioned that.
Well,
she went to Iowa and now she's playing in Indiana. Who on the other side, like, look at the top of the list. I don't know who Kalea Cooper is, if she's leading the league in scoring.
Well, isn't there a woman named Angel Reese that got drafted?
Angel
Wasn't she pretty
Reese,
good?
Yeah,
Asia,
you know where Angel
Asia
Reese
Wilson.
is in scoring? She
Where's
can't
she
be
at?
marketed because she's not at the level yet.
Oh, well, how much? Oh, she's at the bottom.
Well,
I have
she's
no
not at
idea.
the top.
She's like
Because when you,
Yeah,
like, there's
okay.
none of those, right?
I got you.
The problem
not
you
as
have is that
dominant
the
as she
most
was in
marketable
college.
star. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying she's not as dominant as she was in college. She's a rookie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like I said, I haven't
and-
watched. Okay.
And she's going to take and remember that Magic came out a year earlier than Bird, so it wasn't like year one where they did that.
No. They came out. They came out saying
No,
they played the
Bird
same
got
year.
drafted, but he didn't play until the
But he didn't
following
play
year.
right the following year, right? But they played.
So
at the
they
same
couldn't
time.
market that matchup.
Oh yeah, I got you.
until-
Yeah, I got you.
So
right.
the yin to Caitlin's yang might be in the next draft or
I got
or
you.
whatever else, or they might not have established themselves. But the problem is that people make themselves marketable by things that maybe they don't even have control about. When you look at the NFL, by example, I seriously doubt that you would think that the most marketable rookie was Keon Clark, the wide receiver from Buffalo. But these things just kind of happen. Caitlin has that kind of thing. We have to figure out who the other person's going to be. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, the person, if they played at the same time, or even in their primes, Diana Taurasi is the other person, but Diana Taurasi is not Diana Taurasi of old. But she's still she's the one handing the mantle over, basically.
Yeah.
I think it's always going to kind of be the same. Like, and maybe, I don't know that I represent a large swath of people, but it's not like I don't watch the WNBA like I don't watch the NBA. So neither one, and probably to some degree, I mean, now that I think about it, kind of what you're saying, Coop, as far as social media and just how media is consumed and everything else. Like, I remember, 20 years ago, like I'd sit down and watch basketball all night, watch every game back to back. And now it's just, I have more options. I do other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm grown. So I don't know if it's like that for, as you look at more people who consume media in shorter clips, Instagram, etc. How do you market a 3-hour game, men, women, kids, whatever?
Well, Brian said he's watched. You haven't watched. I haven't watched. The only people I know that actually watch, a couple of people from college, they're really into it, but in our little text chain. But other than that, I don't know anybody that's really watched. I'm sure there are people that are watching. I just don't know of any. I don't think Caitlin Clark was enough. Caitlin Clark was enough to get people like me or other people to the TV set, but I'm sure she has gotten some people there.
Yeah, in spite of herself, right? I mean, if you look at Rookie of the Year rankings for WNBA, which, by the way, this is the first year I have ever Googled and tried to figure out the Rookie of the Year ranking. I do it all the time for NBA.
Yeah, that
matters.
matters.
The first time I ever did it, and it was because I wanted to see how the rest of them were doing.
Yeah,
that matters.
Do you know who's on top? It's Cameron Brink.
That's what I was thinking. Who? Yeah, that's Cameron Brink.
The one who's she's Steph Curry's.
Steph Curry's mom is her godmother.
Godbrother, godsister. But and she's another person who's marketable for other reasons. Her connection to Steph, but also she's tall, 6'4".
Yeah, she's model-esque and she balls.
Blonde and beautiful, and has a boyfriend that they put a whole bunch of posts up. There's reasons why she will probably be marketed. Maybe not the right reasons, because she's also a very good basketball player, but she's only averaging 6 points and 6 rebounds right now.
Oh, damn.
and Angel Reese is averaging
Rookie.
11 and a half and 8.5.
Yeah. Which ain't terrible.
Yeah, which was not terrible. It's pretty darn good. But there's just certain things that leagues, that social media clamp onto, and almost none of it has to do with the sports of it all. It helps, but again, Keon Clark will be the rookie that most people talk about all this year in the NFL, and rightfully so. He's freaking.
I'm gonna say until the interesting thing will be until the game start, because if the game start and they're shutting him down, we ain't gonna talk about him the same.
Yeah, they'll talk about him because the press conference. People market personalities less than they do talent.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, because the NFL feels like Caleb Williams and all them boys is gonna be great. They start losing, it's gonna be like,
remember Garoppolo? They didn't talk about Garoppolo because he was so good in football games, because he wasn't. Right. But they didn't talk about him when he went out with porn stars.
Yeah.
But they also talked about him because he was on a Niner team that
he was on a winning team
that had Super Bowl aspirations. I didn't hear about him like that when he was with us.
But I think more people talked about his way he looked or what he was doing more than his game.
Yeah, it added to it.
That was early. Yeah. By the time he got to y'all, that story had ran its course.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about Brock Purdy and the stories you get to hear about Brock Purdy are about how he's got the same car and still rents a place with a buddy, and
not next year.
Right. That's exactly right. Not next year.
Not when that bread comes, because that boy about to get paid.
But and then the narrative will either die out or it'll change.
Yeah, it'll shift. And that's the league feels like it's pretty production based to that degree. Like once you stop producing, it just shifts pretty quickly to how weak you are.
I think the story, I don't know if it's, I don't know that it's production based from a marketing perspective. How long the narrative lasts, I think, is based off of talent and your contracts and your production and titles. But
because you can't market if you're not winning.
They latch on to people before they do anything. Luka, we latched on to him because he was flashy, and now that's still going because his production has matched the expectations.
Right.
He's just a personality that's easy to latch onto.
Yeah, definitely. So that's, I just want to see what y'all thought about WNBA. Real quick before we slide, actually, I just want to throw this out. PGA Championship happened in between since we've been doing all this. Real quick golf talk. Xander Schauffele wins it. Scotty goes to jail overnight, comes out, birdies the first hole. I saw so many, he's one of us, guys joking go out for the guys golf trip, get arrested from partying too much, come out and play in the morning. But any quick thoughts, B?
So many. One, I'm so happy that Xander won and not Bryson. Let's start with that. I watched more of this golf tournament than I did almost any other tournament other than the Masters, just because it fit my schedule and I was doing that, and then some other things were going on. But it was a really interesting tournament, a lot going on. There were players who jumped to the top and then fell back down, which maybe got lost in the shuffle because Xander technically led from beginning to end. But it was a great tournament. Bryson, I do not like him. I am glad he lost, but man, he played well.
I was gonna say,
he played some really, really serious golf all the way down to the 18th hole, where he put the shot across the bow and Xander had to go and get a birdie to win it. Everything about this tournament was pretty exciting. Some of it was sad. If you watched Colin Morikawa, who went into the last day and just didn't live to the moment. And
Tony started out hot too, Finau.
Yeah, Tony. Yeah, the people who were talking about who could win before the round emphasized that this was a course that could be gotten if you were a long ball hitter and accurate with your wedges, which Tony is. And so when I saw him jump out, when I saw Bryson jump out, when I saw Rory kind of catch up in the middle there, I was like, okay, this is kind of what people were expecting to see. But it was so much more than that. I think Scotty wishes he got rested before his third round because he kind of fell asleep at the switch there. But there was something motivated in him on Friday after the arrest. And for all the people who don't know why he got arrested, he was just trying to go around a police barricade to get into the thing. According to him, misunderstood the direction, and got arrested for disobeying a police officer. I'm pretty sure all those charges are about to get dropped. But there's no police officer cam footage of any part of it. Mysteriously, he was released without incident, without bail a few hours later, and they didn't drop the charges yet. But so it was much ado about nothing in that regard, other than if you had on your bingo card to see Scotty Scheffler get arrested ever, let alone during a major, I would be shocked, because that is not his image by a long shot.
Yeah, it was fun. Cool. Thanks, B, for a little golf.
And we know what I got a one topic I want you guys' opinion on. That's what Austin Rivers said, that NBA players could play in the NFL. What do y'all think about that?
I never think about Austin Rivers. So go ahead, bro. And you don't think about me. That's no disrespect. That's just,
I got you. I never think about him either, but his comments. What you think, B?
Yeah, so I have never thought about Austin Rivers in that regard, but I have thought about this topic, and I think we've talked about this before, just casually. There are probably a few NBA players who would be good enough to play in the NFL. There are probably a few NFL players who could play in the NBA. I generally agree that NBA basketball players are the better all-around athletes, but NFL wide receivers and tight ends and skill players are right there. I mean, Randy Moss was Mr. Basketball in high school, and just went a different route. So whether or not one is more easily accessible, first of all, Austin Rivers could barely do either.
Yeah.
This ain't what this is about.
So, slow your roll or recognize your place when you make these types of comments.
Right.
Like, you got in on the my Daddy Express. He had some decent years, but the point is it wasn't going to be him. So I don't know why he decided to take on the mantle. Some athletes are just that talented. I do believe Randy Moss would have been a very good basketball player had he gone that route.
Yeah, Devontae Adams, a lot of cats hoop, but I think it's hard to go the other way because everybody can't get popped. Coop story, that's one to me.
But there are players who were 3-sport super athletes, and who was the one? There's a golfer who was one of the best. Was like the best quarterback in the state, and one of the best track athletes in the state. I can't remember which one it was. And he decided to play professional golf. Like certain athletes can transcend multiple sports, but not most.
Yeah.
And a hit from a linebacker can change your mind about
and that's my thing. As soon as these guys get hit, well, first of all, let's go back to Austin Rivers. I didn't know who he was. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Doc Rivers' son. So I didn't understand, whatever, why they're giving him this much time. I guess we're giving him time, too. But anyway.
It worked for him. Yeah, it worked.
So here's the thing. The answer is back then, where I guess growing up 80s, whatever, I thought there were more players in basketball that could play in the NFL because there was an edge and a fight to players. The game was more physical because, the contracts weren't high. So everybody was fighting for that piece of the pie. So it was a more physical game. I thought back then maybe more players could play in the NFL. Now, hell no. If you yell at an NBA player, you're fired. I mean, LeBron and Durant get coaches fired all the time. So, I mean, you can't do that in NFL. NFL coaches are always on you. Belichick yelled at Brady as much as he yelled at the practice squad guy. You couldn't do that in NBA. And like Brian said, or Glenn said, one of you said, as soon as you get hit, you're like, man, I'm done with this sport. That's why a lot of people stick to basketball who played football and basketball after they get hit.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you know what? I'm done. The double days in 100-degree heat. You know what I'm saying? The NFL, I mean, NBA players ain't going through all that, man. It's just not happening. I'm like you, B, maybe a few, maybe less than 5 can probably play, but as far as the general population of basketball players playing in the NFL, hell no, that's just crazy to even say.
You got to go to straight athletics too, because that's way before you start talking about contracts. Ain't nobody no NBA trying to play for no non-guaranteed contract.
Well, also, and then like these training camps, or whatever, you get up at 7 a.m., you're not back in your room till 10 p.m. You know what I'm saying? NBA, you get up, go to a shoot. I don't know if I'm saying this because an NBA player told me this. You get up, go to a shoot around, you come back home, take a nap, then you get ready for a game. It's not that easy in the NFL. It's just not. So, I don't see it.
The golfer I was trying to remember is Gary Woodland, who apparently was an all-Kansas basketball player.
Didn't know that.
And
I know who he is.
Yeah. Apparently he's like, when he's shooting, he's wet. Like, it's just automatic.
I know him on the golf course. Word. Yeah. All right.
So,
thanks for answering that, fellas.
Yeah, that's enough time on that. So let's get to these to this last topic for the NFL schedule. I don't know how you guys want to play this because obviously every team schedule, we ain't going over everybody.
No. It's only a few that caught my eye. Maybe it's a few that caught Brian's eye.
That's perfect.
Go for it.
Go ahead, Coop.
Okay, I'll just start with my few. The 49ers. Okay. That's my team. I might as well talk about it. They're favored in every game this season. I don't know why, because we play against the Chiefs, and since Shanahan's been there, since Shanahan's been there, they've never beaten the Chiefs. So I don't know why we would be favored. But the first thing I saw was the schedule starts off good. We got the Vikings with Sam Darnold. You got the Rams. You got the Patriots who are going to be terrible. You got Cardinals who won't be good. And you got the Seahawks with a new coach. That's good. But as you get into it, you got the Chiefs and Cowboys in back-to-back weeks. That's not good. And you got the Packers and at the Bills in back-to-back weeks. That can easily be 2 losses. And then in week 16 and 17, end of the season, you might need it for positioning for a number 1 seed maybe or a higher seed. You got the Dolphins and the Lions. Lions going to be looking for a revenge. It's not good. Definitely some guaranteed losses on this 49er schedule. It wouldn't surprise me if they lost 7 games this year. I'm not saying they will, but it definitely wouldn't surprise me. But that's one thing that stuck out to me. Another thing, the Panthers and Patriots are going to be terrible. They're not favoring any game this series. They're going to be bad. The Chargers, I looked at their schedule. It looks like the NFL wants Harbaugh to be 2-0. They started them off with the Raiders and Panthers. So I guess they were happy that Harbaugh is coming in. I'm going to stop there, because there's 2 other teams I want to talk about. That I'm gonna go a little more in depth in their schedule, but you go ahead. Anything that stick out for you?
I meant to start with and ask if you knew what a few meant, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, 6 teams out of 32. That's a few. But anyway, go ahead.
Hey, you know I'm messing with you, man.
Anyways, look, what caught my eye was basically a whole bunch of people every single year start cooking up crazy conspiracies about how the schedule's put, and like, the commissioner's out to get us, and it, the way the formulas that they use to put these games together is pretty much mathematical. Now the order that they end up in, there's absolutely some, hey, we got to make sure that there's a great game on Christmas Day. We got to make sure there's a great game on Monday night. You got to blah blah blah. They do that. But a lot of it is just, okay, hit the enter button at the end of figuring out those games and let it make the math work. So there's all the conspiracy theories, and that somebody is out there to get them and all that kind of stuff. And I was mentioning before the show that I've ran into a few different 49er fans that were having those thoughts because they got the Chiefs and the Cowboys coming off of buys, and they're like, they're out to get us. And I'm not saying this to you, Jason, because your thought wasn't on that. But, my immediate thing was, the league is out to get the team that hasn't won a title since 1995. Maybe you guys are overthinking how much, how important you are. So there's that. On the Viking schedule, there's not a whole bunch to say there. We actually have some pretty good stretches. There's one period of time where we play the Titans, at the Bears, Cardinals, Falcons, and Bears in a 5-game stretch. It happens to be towards the end of the season when it's make or break for playoff time.
Because it starts off kind of ugly.
That could be great. Here's the problem. It starts off where we could very easily go 1-5, 1-4,
Into the bye. Yep.
And go into that bye, and
Early bye
you're
too.
gonna have a rookie, you're gonna have a young team trying to figure out how to come back from that type of adversity pretty early on, because outside of the Giants game on week 1, it's a tough slog that includes them having to go to London to play Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to guess that there's going to be a few Aaron Rodgers jerseys in that crowd.
Gosh.
And so, so there's all of that. And what the Jets game in London, is a home game. It won't feel like one because they're there, but 2 because that crowd will absolutely be pro Rodgers. That's a home game that they give up. But yeah, I hope they win against the Giants. I don't expect them to be able to beat the 49ers. I don't expect them to be able to beat the Texans. But we always have a chance when we get the Packers early in the season, before it's super cold, which is always my favorite time to get them. But I wouldn't expect it, and I don't expect them to be able to beat the Jets. But and then they have the Lions, the Rams. It's a rough start to the season, but it gets easier.
I just looked at it. It's ugly. My thing was more just like kind of the, like we start off Ravens at Chiefs first Thursday night. So I'll see you. I think I'll plan on being out there. That'll be fun. Just that first week, usually I'm at Brian's. Packers and Eagles on. We have a Friday game to start the season also, which is interesting. That game's in Brazil. Packers versus Eagles on a Friday at 5:15 Pacific. We have that first Sunday. Most of these
you got to stretch, man. Dallas, Buffalo, and Cincinnati.
You close your season with 3 of your final 4 games at home, which if you all are in the playoff hunt, that's a very valuable situation to be in.
Are you talking about us? Who are you talking about?
My bad.
Your team,
my bad.
Raiders.
Oh, got it. I'm tripping on that. You gotta see what happens, right? I was kind of interested in, we got a Black Friday game. The Raiders actually play on Black Friday, but kind of how they're setting up this is you guys Niners get a Monday night game to start the season out with the Jets. Leonard Floyd, who took Aaron Rodgers out last year, is on the Niners now. So that's gonna be interesting. I mean, there's definitely some
look at
intrigue,
your Raiders.
man.
Look at this stretch though that you have for the Raiders, man. You got
Steelers, Rams, Chiefs,
Bengals,
and Dolphins.
Exactly. Steelers, Rams, Kansas City, Bengals, and then you got Miami, man. Damn, that's a stretch.
Yeah,
man, tough stretch.
I mean, yeah, it's all right. It ain't all that. We got to see if Joe Burrow's upright by then. You got to see. I'm actually trying to go to that game. My homeboy lives in Columbus, so I'm actually trying to get out there for that. Miami, we was right there with them last year without any offense, and we got Christian Wilkins who comes over. I don't know. I think Miami's one of them teams that maybe they're in the season team, but I wasn't really overly impressed by them. Watching them, but also just seeing how they went the end of the year. I mean, they had home games that they needed to win. They couldn't win. I mean, they get what they changed. They got Odell Beckham now. Are we? I don't know. That doesn't really. So we'll see what they do. The Rams are the Rams. You know what I'm saying? You never know. Donald is gone, which is a big piece of that team. I love Puka Nacua. He's dope. We'll see what Stafford and them boys do. So I mean, we gonna see. I will say that the Chargers are getting hella love, man. People love these damn Chargers no matter what happens. Staley's out there,
or just general?
Just the team in general. If they got Harbaugh, they're gonna win. I'm like, I mean, yeah, he's won in the past, but you still got to see what the team does. Like who they throwing the ball to, who's running the ball. Like what's going on here? We just love Herbert.
I think they're getting a lot of love in part because everyone recognizes that they've always been talented. And they've just been a shit show in the coaching situation.
I don't think they could do wrong, which is fine. I ain't mad at it. We're gonna see. I don't know. I'm just, you got to play the games. We've seen it all. The Niners, I didn't think y'all was gonna lose to the Browns, and you know what I mean, like last year. So we gotta see. We just gotta see how stuff goes. Well, I mean, once everybody was injured, yeah, we all thought so. But going into the season,
I said it 2 weeks before we played. We weren't injured. Yeah, I said that. Yes, I did. I said we played Dallas.
Yeah,
we're gonna beat Dallas and we're gonna lose to the Browns. That's the game.
Right.
Yep.
Well, I'm saying like right now, you're right. Everything's cool when you start seeing the games play, which is what I'm saying for us too. I got to see the games play. You got to see how cats know, because right now, you're anticipating you're gonna lose to Dallas and the Chiefs. Y'all ain't gonna lose to both of them back to back. You're gonna beat one of them.
I'm anticipating we're gonna lose to Green Bay and the Bills, but yeah, back to back. But yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And ain't no way to tell, right? So you got to see who's there. I mean, you got Johnny Unitas, like I said, so y'all will be fine.
Yeah, I don't know that.
So,
but I'm gonna tell you the two eyebrow raising schedules I saw. The number one is the Chiefs. They play every day. First of all, NFL players, I've heard a few of them tell me one thing they like is they like continuity. If they could play every Sunday at the same time, that's what they like. Once they start getting out of routine, that's one of the reasons I didn't like Washington when they had RG3 that second year. He won the Rookie of the Year in the second. They started playing different days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday night, Sunday, Monday. It was all over the place. That's how the Chiefs schedule is. They play every day of the week except Tuesday. They got two Monday night games. Wednesday on Friday, Christmas, yes.
Monday,
Thursday
Sunday,
against Baltimore,
Saturday,
right. Friday after Thanksgiving, and then Saturday against Houston.
And
they have 4 short weeks. They have a week 6 bye, which is the earliest bye they've ever had with Mahomes, and they go a 49-day span with just one home game.
They play us back to back. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And they play 3 games in a 10-day stretch, which has never happened before.
Yeah. The Chiefs, I don't think they're going to win the Super. I'm not saying they're not talented. Mahomes, my favorite player in the league, but with this schedule that they have, I mean, it's going to be up, down. I mean, it can literally be you don't know what team towards the middle in the season. You don't know what team you're going to see because of the non-continuity of the schedule. So that's one thing to look at. But the team that I see, well, I mean, it ain't this
every
bad.
Every year they there's like 2 or 3 in the middle of the season they lose and they always bounce back.
Oh yeah. But they never have a schedule like this. Yeah, they never have a schedule like this. Another team that the team that has the hardest schedule in the league and the team that I'm actually want to watch this year is the Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers have the hardest schedule in the league. I don't care what anybody says. They play at Falcons, at Indy, and have Harbaugh at home. 3 of their first 4 games on the road. And then they have Dallas. 2 weeks later, they got Aaron Rodgers. And then if you look at the back of their schedule, the last 6 quarterbacks they play, Burrow, Deshaun Watson, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, and Burrow. I'm sorry, but Tomlin's going to be on the TV network next season and I'm looking forward to hearing him because he'll be great on TV because that whole streak of winning seasons is coming to an end this year. I said last year, Belichick's last year, Mac Jones.
But this isn't remember the Titans, man. He can have one bad season. I don't think he gets started.
But looking at this back half of the season, you could easily lose 7 in a row.
But he also gets to start the season, or they get to start the season with the Falcons, Broncos, and Chargers.
I don't think those are guaranteed wins. I don't think those are guaranteed wins. Not with this team, because you remember this Russell Wilson thing and Justin Fields. That's not guaranteed success with those guys. But
to come up from their quarterback play before.
Oh, I mean, it's better than before, yeah. But I
wish this schedule's ugly though.
The schedule is bad. Tomlin's going to be on TV. Yeah, that's my prediction. I said Belichick's last year was going to be this past season. Hey. I'm saying Tomlin's last season is going to be this one. But the wild card in this, though, I think
he decides to leave.
I'm going to go.
Ain't nobody firing that boy. If he decides,
We'll see. Now the wild card this though is I think somebody mentioned was Joe Burrow because he has that wrist ligament hand injury. I read it's only 70%. I read it's only a 70% success rate, and no matter how successful the surgery is, there's still inflammation. So that's going to be something to look at. He could be in and out the lineup. But
I will tell you right now that if you want to see as close to a coaching riot as you will get.
Mm-hmm.
Fire a black coach after his first losing season.
They ain't gonna fire.
I don't think they're gonna fire him, but they'll say mutual departed.
He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, but
looking real quick, whose schedule's actually kind of cakeish a little bit is the Bears.
Eagles.
Oh, the Bears. You always say the Eagles. You say the Eagles every year.
Have you seen the Eagles schedule? Have you seen the Eagles? They start with Atlanta, New Orleans, Tampa Bay, and Giants, man.
I ain't got to see it, man. I just know how you feel about the Eagles, bro. I don't care if they played the 1984 Bears 4 times. You'd be like, oh, that's easy.
Ain't got nothing to do with that. Ain't got nothing to do with that, man. How you close with Washington and the Giants, man? You close with them. Come on.
That's their division. The Bears, though, the Bears got the Titans. Texans are tough. Colts, Rams, Panthers.
Oh, Bears making the playoffs.
Jags.
The Bears making
Commanders, the playoffs. Cardinals, Patriots. You could win. You could rattle off 5 real quick.
The Bears are making the playoffs. That's a playoff team.
It might be, man. They got
ain't no might. They're making the playoffs.
Yeah, the league would love it, right?
Coach already said that Caleb's a starting quarterback, which is good. He wasn't one of them coaches trying to flip-flop.
Who else gonna start?
That's what I'm saying. No, I get it. Ain't gonna be Tyson Badgett. Ain't gonna be Tyson Badgett. I get it. But Caleb Williams and the Bears will be in the playoffs next year. They're in the playoffs.
He gets to play all of the rookies, the big rookies too. He gets to play Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and McCarthy twice.
Yep, that's cool. Yeah, no, I'm
Cowboys
excited,
got
man.
the Cowboys got all their hard games. They play Frisco, San Francisco, Baltimore, and Detroit all by week 8. They have no hard games after week 8. The Cowboys, they'll be in the playoffs too. Yep. But
Okay, I'm with you on the Eagle schedule though.
have you seen it? Look at the beginning and the end. Come on, man. It's not hate. It's just what it is.
It's I wouldn't mind having this for my team. I ain't gonna lie.
Real talk. Yeah.
We are playing most of these teams though. I'm looking at so.
But that was good talk though. Good talk.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
It'll be more
Always
NFL talk to come. Yep.
Always a good time. So I think that's right about an hour, man. So let's hit our last couple segments. First, what's hella hogwash? This is a segment that Brian came up with one time when he said something was hogwash. We laughed at it, and it's been a staple since. So, what y'all got?
Brian, what you got? What's hogwash?
Harrison Butker.
I don't know what he say.
What did he said? He was giving a commencement speech for
it's already
college. women in the crowd graduating with degrees, professionals to go into the workforce, and he says that they need to embrace their true role and the role that was truly meant for them as a homemaker, and that that happiness for women is being a good homemaker. And there was a lot more that he said along those lines that came off as real tone deaf. And here's the reason why. So I've had some folks go, well, this is really a big deal. You're saying this at a college in front of a crowd, which, by the way, most college graduates are women, that is going to probably be mostly women, and saying that despite your degree in psychology, physiology, medicine, science, business, all these different things, that their true role and the role that they are meant to accept and thrive in is homemaker. This is not Sarah Lawrence in the 1940s and 30s and 20s, where people literally did go and get degrees in the art of homemaking and things of that nature. Like, this is today when our workforce is increasingly women, our daughters are going to have long, strong professional careers, and this knucklehead decided to go out there and give this speech. What he was thinking is beyond me. It was at a Kansas, Kansas college, and Benedictine, I think is the name of it, which was obviously a religious school. But like what is it, Peyton Manning used to say, like, kickers are stupid kickers, man. I think this.
Well, I mean, it's much hogwash in the school. What do you have in Harrison Butker talk for? Why? When am I ever reaching out to him?
Because it was in Kansas. It was in the home of the Chiefs.
Man, you couldn't get the long snapper?
Like, that's the whole.
What?
Like, when you got the kicker, and look, Harrison Butker is a great kicker. If and historically I would have drafted him, because in the the 11th round of a 12-round draft, because he's going to be great in that regard. But why he was talking, I don't know, and why he thought that was the thing to say, I don't know.
Bro,
for all these people who were jumping out to say, don't pick on Harrison, shut the heck up. That guy deserves every drop of ire he's saying that stuff. And if he's like, well, he was saying it to that crowd, I could go see every single graduation speech there has been in the country this year and years past. It's going to be, if you say it out loud at something like a graduation, it's going to be recorded. It's going to be national news. When you say something stupid, you get what you deserve. And it was hogwash.
Do you know how salty I would be? We do all this work, we get to graduation, they're like, your commencement speaker, the kicker for the Chiefs. What?
Right.
What?
People got Angela Bassett.
Right.
Viola Davis.
They couldn't get JJ from Good Time to somebody. I'm just saying.
Bro, give me the mayor of the state or something.
You can't get Keith Sweat. You can't get Keith Sweat.
And to add to it, he insults you. Like, wait a minute. Does he even have a degree? I don't know if he does or doesn't. I'm just saying.
No, he went to Georgia Tech. I had to look it up. So I'm like, maybe he's talking at his own school. That is nuts. All right. Go ahead, Coop.
They couldn't get nobody, huh? The man from what's going down episode, and That's My Mama, you know what I'm saying?
That is
Man.
some old man. Somebody got
They
to get
couldn't get
fired,
Randy
man.
Watson,
Like,
but
hey, Coop, you get the commissioner speaker? Oh no, I thought you got it. Oh, word? It's tomorrow. Fool got on.
Call up Harrison. He's been wanting to say something.
Fools hit Twitter like, hey, bro, you think you could come by tomorrow? Go ahead, Coop.
man, it's all
That is
good.
dumb.
All right, so I can't top that, to be honest with you, but I got two hogwashes. Usually I never have one, but I got two today, man. Number one, it's Brian, it's your boy Lincoln Riley, man. I was reading an article about this dude. Yeah. Yeah, USC head coach Lincoln Riley, man, and he's focusing his recruiting on Texas and Georgia. He does not want to recruit California, which I think that's totally stupid. There's too much high school football talent in California and enough to fill his roster with good players. But he doesn't focus on California. He wants to go out to Texas and out to Georgia, which is cool to get some players from there, but you can get 20, 25 players easily from California. Work for past coaches that won national titles. He hasn't won one, doesn't want to do it. I kind of don't get it. Southern California has two powerhouse programs, St. John Bosco and Mater Dei. He's only signed 4 players from there since class of 2022, which is ridiculous. They always got players that are D1 caliber going everywhere, Alabama, Miami, wherever. Don't understand it. I can understand if it was Oregon or Idaho, but he's in California, doesn't want to recruit in his backyard. Kind of makes it easy, but whatever. That's my number one hogwash. Number two hogwash is the rookie mini camps. There's no practice in the NFL that matters less than rookie mini camp. I don't care what story comes out, who was balling. Nobody knows what is going on in rookie mini camp. Nobody. That's why it doesn't mean anything. There are no veterans. There's nothing. These guys they don't even know the playbook or barely might know it. No practice mean. Anytime you hear a story out of rookie mini camp, just dismiss it because it means absolutely nothing. And no, those are my two hogwashes.
Mine's real quick to that. I'm gonna kick right on that. Is training camp footage. You're absolutely right from the NFL. They're trying to make Caleb Williams, all these guys. Look at Caleb Williams dropping dimes. This guy is in shorts, throwing to a receiver running open in a drill. Man, you think I can tell any kind of skill from that? Stop it. But whatever. So that's funny. Last segment, minute to win it, a chance to kind of talk about whatever. Mine is in regards to the sale of the Oakland Coliseum site, which is very interesting. The African American Sports and Entertainment Group is going to buy the city of Oakland stake in the Oakland Coliseum for like 105 million. There's a $177 million deficit in Oakland. So that's going to cut into that deficit. They get out of part of the Coliseum. That African American Sports and Entertainment Group is also in communication with the A's to buy their stake to completely own that area. I'm sure the Coliseum will get demolished. They'll put, retail, housing, etc. Keep Oracle or whatever it is now, the sports arena for as a music venue or whatever it's going to be, and then redevelop that area. But it's cool because it's looks like it's a development group that's got with Black people in it, made by Black people who will probably help somewhat, hopefully, in East Oakland and the communities that live there. So very interesting. This just came out today from when I saw it, so something to watch. But looks like the Coliseum is under new ownership or partially under new ownership, and we'll see what comes of it.
Yeah, mine is the NFL, man. The NFL, they have TV contracts now, getting money from 9 different networks. Man, I'm talking about YouTube, Amazon, Netflix has kind of peaked with subscribers. They thinking to themselves, well, how can we get more? Hell, get the NFL. They're getting a Christmas game. Netflix, Amazon, they got boatloads of money. NBC is hemorrhaging money. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I think this is the way 10 years from now, the whole watching games on CBS, NBC, ABC, all that stuff, I think that's going to be gone. I think it's going to move to streaming, to YouTube, to Amazon, to Netflix. These are people that got all the money for some reason. And I think that's where we're going with football, man. So they're just getting billions of dollars from all these networks. YouTube, 2 billion, NFL, Fox, 2.2, CBS, 2 billion, NBC, 2 billion, Amazon, $1 billion. ABC, NBC, ESPN, Disney, 2.7 billion. Netflix. I mean, they're just raking in the cash, man. And I'm saying I know people like easily going to ABC, Channel 7, whatever it is, and NBC, but I just think 5-10 years from now, especially 10 years from now, that's not going to be the way. It's going to be streaming.
Hey, to get to that, I streamed it, right? I went through a streaming service to get to ABC. So good point.
Yeah, what's funny, Jason, is that my minute to win it was somewhat related to that. So, recently there was a study done now that the schedule is out in the games that were going over there. And the study was actually talking about how much a person needs to spend as an NFL fan to watch every single game. And, you needed to have Peacock because they have the Chiefs Dolphins game. You need to have Amazon Prime because they have all of the Thursday night games.
Yeah.
You now need to have Netflix because they have the Christmas games. You need ESPN Plus because they have Monday Night Football games. You need the Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV in order to be able to watch all your out-of-market games. And so the least amount of money that you could spend, so that means you're getting all these services with the commercials and everything else, was $857.86 to see all of the football games. That is crazy. I won't say hogwash because we're not in that segment. But that is crazy. When you get to the point where you need $8 from Peacock, $9 a month from Amazon Prime Video, and this is only assuming that you have it during the football season, not for the entirety of the year.
Yeah, this is as much as cable.
$7 in Netflix, $11 in ESPN, $73 for the ticket, or $4.49 if you don't want to have YouTube TV as your primary provider. You come up with $857.86.
Man.
And so to what you were saying about how the games have gone away from being on television and going to the way of streaming. And now you have on the flip side of it, what's going on in the NBA, which is just sold, did a contract where TNT is going to be losing their games where they've been enjoyed for quite some time. And, a lot of people are talking less about where the games are going on and more about the fact that Shaq and Charles aren't going to be able to poke fun at each other in the in-betweens. The world has changed. And for a long time, a lot of people, including myself, thought that streaming was going to revolutionize and get rid of me having to use Spectrum or Time Warner, who was in my area, or having to opt for the other thing and go to DirecTV, and that we would be better. And we are now figuring out we are much, much, much worse off than we were even 5 years ago when the ticket was with DirecTV and you could watch every other game on one of those channels. And now it's the Wild Wild West. And ultimately the person losing is the consumer and the football fan who doesn't have $1,000 of loose cash to spend over a 5-month period to watch, or 4-month period really, to watch NFL games.
Yeah, well, you can watch just whatever comes on your TV, or you can watch us completely for free on your local YouTube streaming or
Apple,
on Spotify.
That's right. Spotify,
Appreciate
Apple,
y'all.
that's right.
You and me, we can start doing our own Charles and Kenny and Shaq impression because there's a void about to be created on NBC.
Covered.
Right.
And they're gonna bring back, what was his name? Rashad.
Ahmad Rashad. Yeah.
Ahmad Rashad, because NBC's got the package again, or the NBA games again.
Yeah, and by the way, that's a bad deal too. They don't even get the finals, but yeah, bad deal.
Well, like I said, check us out for free, and we'll check y'all out later. This is Sports Counterpoints Podcast on May 22nd, 2024. Peace.